Well, hi, hello. Long time no see, I guess, right? In today's video, we're gonna be making this really robust level up system. So pretty much what we have here is we have an XP system, and once you get to a certain amount of XP, you'll level up. And I'll just show you it here, right? Anyways, so we're gonna add 50 XP, and as you can see, it adds it there, and it says 50 out of 100 now. Once we get to 100, we'll actually get to level 2 with a nice little pop-up notification with some cool animations. And as you can see, we also got 1 point in the right hand side of the screen right there. We got an extra point. And now the max is actually at 150 now. Or it was at 100, now it's at 150. So we're going to get some more XP like this. And now it's out of 225 and we're level 3 and we've got another point. So let's just go up to a level 5. And when we get to level 5, you'll see that level 5 is actually a milestone. So we'll get extra points. So right now we're on 3 points. And we're going to get an extra 2 this time, because level 5 for us is a milestone. I'm going to go up a couple more levels. I'm going to actually just add 1000 XP there. So we're now level 8, level 9, and when we get to level 10, it will actually give us more points because that's another milestone, like this. And of course, as well as this level up system, we'll be implementing the save system. So if I back out of the game here, and then replay it, as you can see, we're on level 10 and we have 13 points still. So yeah, that's everything we're making. And let's get straight into the tutorial. Okay, so as you can see now, I'm in a brand new third-person project. I've just made this folder here called tutorial, and this is where I'm going to put on all my assets. It's important for you guys to organize your assets correctly. However, I'm just going to chuck everything into this one folder. Right, okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to Blueprint class, and we're going to create an actor component. I'm going to call this BPC underscore level system. Level system like this. Essentially, we can put this blueprint component here into our third person character. So the code in here, whatever we write in here, will be executed for the third person character. So it's just a neat little way we can organize our project a bit better. And so everything for the level system is going to go in here. Alright, so before I do anything in here, I'm just going to add this to the third person character first. So go to your player character, here is mine, and in the components, we're just going to add a BPC underscore level system. So yep, this is just a component that we added. Okay, so now what we can do in the BPC level system is we can create a couple variables for the actual level system. So I'm going to make a new variable called current XP. Like this, and this will be an integer. This will just be what our current XP will be at the current time. We'll have a max XP as well. This is the amount of XP that we have to reach before we can get to another level. And we'll also make another variable called level. And all of these will be integers, and this level variable will just be whatever level we're on currently. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm just going to remove these for now. We will get the begin play back, but we don't need it just at this moment. So I'm going to create a new custom event. I'm going to call this update XP, like this. So this will just be the event that we call in order to give ourselves some XP. So I'll demonstrate here. In the third person character, let's just get a debug key of 1. So this will only work in the editor. So this is the editor here. So if you were to export it, a debug key will not work in like an exported project. But just for testing purposes, we can use this and it will be fine. So anyways, if we get a reference to the BPC level system, if we do a update XP, this event will just add our XP up eventually. It doesn't do anything just yet, but it will. But yeah, that is just how you would set up in the third person character. Very simple so far. Alright, we're going to go back to the level system now, and we're going to finish off this event. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to add an input, and we're just going to call this add XP. This will be an integer. This will just be the amount of XP that we actually want to add to the player. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to grab the current XP. We're then going to get the add XP. We're going to do an add, and we're going to add the current XP. We're going to add the amount we want to add to the current XP, and we'll set that to the current XP like that. So say this is 50. This will just add 50 to the current XP. Currently the current XP is at 0, so this will just make the XP to 50. And then to 100, etc. Alright, great. So I'm just going to quickly default my values. So the current XP, I'm going to default at 0. The max XP, we'll put at 100 for now. We'll have to reach 100 XP to get to level 2 pretty much. And the level, we're going to say we're at level 1 at the start. So now if we just add a print statement at the end of here, and if we just print out the current XP, what you'll see is when we play is when we click the 1 key, nothing will happen because we're not actually adding any XP here. So say we want to add 50 XP, like this. Now when we click the 1 key, as you can see, it goes up in 50s. Alright, that is looking good so far. I'm just going to delete this print string now because we don't need it anymore. Okay, so now what we're going to build is we're going to build the basics of the level up system. So pretty much what we need to think about is when do you want to level up? And we want to level up when the current XP and the max XP are sort of the same or greater than. We want the current XP to be more than the max XP. So we're going to do a branch. So if the current XP, let's get the current XP here. If the current XP is greater than or equal to the max XP, then we're going to do level up. I'm going to level up our character. Because say we need 100 XP to level up, when the current XP is say equal to 100, we'll level up, or if it's equal to 101, then we'll level up. So yeah, that's essentially what we're doing here. Okay, so we're now going to create another event. We can just put T dot for a little shortcut there, and it'll just get the add custom event there. And what we're going to do is we're going to call this level up. And this will just be the code that will execute when we want to level the player up. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is off this true, we will call the level up event here. Just like this. Alright, so say the current XP, say we update the current XP and say it equals to 102. Let's just say it equals to 102, right? So we'll then level up. However, we'll still be on 102 XP, which we don't want to be on anymore. So what we're going to do is we're going to get the leftover amount of XP, since we're going to use 100 of it to level up, and we'll still have 2 left over. So in order to do that, we're going to make the current XP, we're going to set the current XP to the current XP, subtract the max XP. Subtract the max XP. So, and then this will just be how much we have left over, like this. Okay, great. Okay, the next thing that happens when we level up is the max XP will actually increase. And now you can decide whatever maths you want to do for this. You can, I don't know, add 50 up each time. You can multiply the max XP by 2. However, a good way that I found of doing it to make it so it progressively gets harder and harder and harder until, you know, in some games where you're like level 50 and it takes hours to get to level 51. You know what I'm saying about that? So what we can actually do is we can do the max XP. We can divide it by 2. So divide by 2. So say this is equal to 100. This value here will be 50, of course. And then we're just going to add this 50 here. So if the max XP was 100, divided by 2, that'll be 50. We'll add this to the max XP. So say it was 100, and now for level 2 it'll be 150. And say you want to get to level 3, it'll then have to be like 225, I believe. I'm not sure if my maths are correct on that. I hope so. But, you know. And then we're just going to set the max XP to this calculation here. So, I won't lie, I sort of just made this calculation up and it seemed to work just fine. You guys can mess with whatever calculation you want to do, divided by 3 if you'd like. It's up to you. It's just how well the progression fits in your game. Alright. And then, one of the most important things that happen when you level up is your level will increase. So, we're going to get the level and we're just going to do a plus plus, which will increment the integer by 1. Alright. We can compile and save that now. Alright, now this is pretty much the basic system of level up system done. It's pretty much all you need to do. However, we want to add a ton more features to this, of course. So we're going to start by adding the UI actually. So yeah, let's go do the UI then. As this is, in my opinion, one of the most important parts of the level up system is the UI, as it just makes the game look and feel so much better. Okay, so one thing you could do is you could just create UI for the level up system here, like just a widget blueprint. Make that all look pretty and stuff, make the logic for it, and then just create the widget inside of the level system, whatever, and then call it a day. However, I'm going to teach you guys how to properly add UI to the screen, how to do it effectively, how to do it where performance isn't lost at all. Yeah, I'm just going to show you guys how to do that, as it is so much better. It's a little bit more work, but I'm sure that'll be fine. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a new widget. So user interface, widget blueprint. We're going to call this WB underscore main HUD. So this will be the main HUD that every other HUD is put onto, essentially. So we'll add a canvas panel here. And now in this main HUD, this is what's going to be displayed on the screen at all times. So for me, I want the level to be displayed on the screen, the points to be displayed on the screen, the XP, and also how much XP you'll get gaining at the bottom, if you remember the example that I showed you. So yeah, that is how I want to do it. Okay, so we're going to start by actually designing the UI. So I'm going to add a vertical box, if I can spell it. There we go. Vertical box here. Now what this vertical box does is it allows us to store other UI elements in it, one row at a time. So we can put a text here, we can then put a progress bar here, more text here, and more text here. So I'm going to keep this anchored to the top left. I'm going to make the X to 50 and the Y to 50 as well, like this. All right. And then also going to do size to content as well. So the first thing I'm going to add to this vertical box is I'm going to add some text. So we're going to add some text in like this. So I already have my design on the other screen, so I'm pretty much just going to copy that. You guys can do the same design with me, or you guys can design it yourself. But essentially what I had here is I had so this will be for the XP. So we'll just make a placeholder, which will be 0 as 0 XP, like this. I then did the font to be a size of 10, like this. So you got a little bit of what your XP is in the top left corner. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a progress bar. And before I do that, actually, make sure you are naming these variables correctly. So I'm going to name this experience like this, and is a variable, yes, because we want to change it in the graph here. So for the progress bar, I'm going to call this XP bar, and it is a variable as well. Okay, so the size at the minute doesn't really matter that much. It will change when we add the text in, as the text is pretty big. But yeah, that's pretty much all we want to do for this, and we're going to dynamically change the percent so the progress bar is able to be filled up like this. So the next thing we'll do is we're going to add some more text. Add some more text like this. Make sure you parent it to the vertical box right at the bottom. This will be our level. So I'm going to put level here, a colon, space, and put 3 zeros just as a placeholder. So it's most likely your biggest level is going to be in like the hundreds, right? So just make sure everything still looks nice when it's the biggest number there is. Then I'm just going to leave everything here as default. So now as you can see, the progress bar has also gotten a bit bigger, so it looks a bit nicer. And that's everything I'm going to do for the level part for now. I will come back to this and add the little plus how much XP you get, but I'm not going to do that for the minute. This is essentially all the UI for the main HUD. So let's go about adding this to our game. So most people, what they do is they'll go into the third person character, go to the begin play, and just do a create widget and then add it to the viewport. However, that isn't that good to do. You could do it, but I would not advise it. So we're going to go to blueprint class, all classes, and we're going to search for HUD like this. And you just want to grab this one that just says HUD. So we'll click select, and we're going to call this BP underscore HUD base. Base like this. And let's come inside of here. So we don't need any of these two events here. It's just the begin play that we need. So we're actually going to create all of our widgets inside of this HUD base here, as it's, in my opinion, the best way to do it. But before we do that, I'm just going to quickly resolve one of my pet peeves with this game engine. So when you go into a game, as you can see, when it starts up, you actually have to click on your mouse on the actual game menu, and then you start playing. So a simple way to quickly solve that is to get player controller, like this, and then just do set input mode game only. And just plug that in. And now when we click play, we should be, if we go full screen, that wasn't a good example. And the reason it's not working is because we're not actually using this at all. We have it created, but we're not using it. So in the world settings over here to the right, we're going to go to selected game mode, and we're going to change the HUD class to the BP_HUD base. And now when we click play, as you can see, we're instantly controlling the character. I just think it feels a bit better, a bit more like a real game. But yeah, that's my opinion anyways. Now we can actually get to creating the widgets. So the first thing I like doing is I like separating how the widgets are created based on what they are pretty much. So I'm going to give you an example now. So I'm going to make a function, and we're going to call this create game widgets. Now what we're going to create in here is just our main widgets. So as you can see here, we've got the main HUD, and this will be created in the game widgets. So we can do create widget here, and we can create our WB main HUD, and we'll promote it to a variable, right to variable, call this main_HUD, and then we'll add it to viewport, add to viewport, just like that. All right, so that is looking good right now. Now when we click play, we haven't actually initialized it yet, so just make sure you put this create game widgets on the begin play here. Now when we click play, as you can see in the top left, we have our level system on the UI now. So what we need to do is we need to make it so it's actually functional, because right now it's displaying 0 information. It doesn't tell us what our levels are, and when we increase it using the 1 key, nothing happens. You can't even tell that we're leveling up. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to add the level to be displayed in the top left corner here. So to do that in our BP HUD base, we're going to do another custom event, and we're going to call this add level to HUD, like this. We're going to make an input of level, and this is going to be executed. This is going to be executed inside of our level system, and we're going to get a reference to the widget in there and stuff like that, and we're going to pass through the level. And I don't know why I call this input. I want to call this level. But yeah, we're going to pass this level through, and it will just replace the text and display it on the screen. If that doesn't make sense, then just follow along and you'll probably get it as I go through it. So we're going to do a set text here. Not like that though, because first what we need to do is we need to get a reference to our main HUD, and then we need to get a reference to our level here, which is not going to work because we haven't set this to a variable. So in our WB main HUD, make sure you set the level to a variable called, we'll call it level text, like that. So now we can get a reference to the level text, like this. And we can do a set text off of here. Make sure it's the set text text. And it should look something like this. All right, that's great. So now, well, we could just pass this straight into this int text here because we can convert the integer to a text. However, I want to keep it so it says level : and then the level. And in order to do that, we're going to search for something called append. And it should be string here, append string like this. We're going to pass the return value into the text, like this. And it should just create this node here. Automatically, it will do it. And then in the A, we'll just put level, and then : and then a space. Then in the B, we'll pass through this level here. And it will automatically convert it, like that. All right, so now we're going to work on actually calling this event. Now, we're actually going to call it on the begin play of the BPC level system. So let's create the begin play here. Begin play. And now right here, we're going to do a pass to we're going to cast here the HUD, BP HUD base here. And now, yes, casting isn't the best for performance, but when we just cast into the HUD like this harmlessly, there shouldn't be much performance effect at all. So it should be absolutely fine to do this. As casting every once in a while is absolutely fine, but when you're constantly doing it, especially when an event ticks, that is where it gets to a problem. So we're going to grab the player controller, controller like this, and from the player controller we'll just get the HUD, HUD like that, and we're going to plug that into the cast. Then from this as BP HUD, we're going to promote this to a variable, promote to variable, and we'll just call it BP underscore HUD underscore base. Then from here, we are just going to do an add level to HUD, and this is now our event in here. So we're now finally calling it. And what it wants to know is it wants to know what level we are, so it can display what level we are here. So in order to tell it what level we are, we're simply just going to pass the level variable into here. So now when we click play, as you can see, it now says we're level 1. However, if we keep upping our level like that, nothing will happen because we're not actually updating it. Alright, so now we're adding the level to HUD and it works perfectly. However, our level up doesn't work yet. And that's just because we're going to get it to work with our little level notification HUD that will pop down from the top of the screen. So let's go do that now. So to keep everything organized, we're going to create a new blueprint. We're going to create a new user interface. User widget. I'm going to call this WB underscore level up, like this. And we're going to add another canvas panel. There we go. And I'm obviously going to copy the design from my other screen because I found a design that works and looks nice. So why not just reuse it? Obviously, if you guys can design this however you'd like and make it look a lot nicer than what mine looks like. But this is for tutorial purposes, so yeah. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a border like this. A nice border. I'm going to position it in the center like that. 0 it there. And what we can do is in the alignment, we can do 0.5 and it will center it like that. If you do 0.5 again, it centers it on the Y. But we don't need it to be centered on the Y because we're going to be moving it on the Y. So for this to pop down, we're actually going to create it above the canvas panel. This canvas panel is what your screen is. So we're actually going to put the level up UI above the screen. So to do that, I'm going to make the Y position to be -200, which looks fine. I'm going to make the X to 400, and I'm going to make the Y to 150. And now, as you can see, we've got a little box here. Okay, so now for this box, I'm going to grab the brush color, and brush color. I'm going to make this gray, and I'm going to make the opacity to about 0.8. Around there. And I'll make it a bit darker. Like that. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a vertical box to the border. We've already discussed what this does. It just means we can add like some text in there. And they will be displayed one row at a time. So let's do that. Let's add some text. This vertical box. Let's make sure we click here to center the text. This text will have a padding on the top of 10. We can make the text say level up with an exclamation mark like this, and everything else can be left as default. Add another text box to this vertical box. Now this will just display what level we are. So I'm going to have it 0 just for a placeholder because this will be changed by itself. So now for this, we're going to center the text. Then also going to make the text to a size of 56. And as you can see, it just makes the actual level that you are stand out a bit better. And that is everything. So as you can see, we've got this nice HUD here. And now it's actually time for us to animate this. So we can actually animate this inside of the widget. So if you don't know how to animate, down here by where your content drawer is, you actually now have a tab here called animations. And you can tap this and you can start animating. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click the border. I'm going to go to animations, add animation, and we'll just call this level slide. Sure, that will do. And now we can add a border here. So this is what we're going to be animating. We can click add track, and we can add a transform track. We actually change the transform of this. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is make sure you have auto keyframes on. So like that, there we go. Or then say recording. Now what we can do is, so yeah, we can make this, so translation here, X, we keep it 0 here. When it gets to 0.35, what I actually did in my animation was I made this X, not X, sorry, the Y to 275, like this. However, I actually don't want it to be here. So at the 0.5, I'm going to make it to 250. 250, and the reason why I went a little bit lower than what I wanted it at is because now, as you can see, when it comes down, it comes all the way down and then sort of slides up a little bit. And it just makes for this nice little animation here. So yeah, I thought that would look quite nice. So why not, you know? Now it is up to you. You guys can then just continue animating it to slide back up after a certain amount of time. However, I'm going to show you guys a different way to do it. So yeah, we have the animation done here. We don't need to do it like a slide up or anything because we can just reverse it. So as you can see, when you reverse it, it slides back up. So that is all good. Now for the animation to actually be used, we're going to make a custom event and we'll call this like play slide, like this. Then from here, we'll just, from this reference of the level slide, which is the animation, we'll do a play animation like this. And as you can see right here, this will simply play the animation. That is all you should do, except not really. So I'm going to first plug this play mode into the event so we can decide if we want it to go forwards or if we want it to go backwards. Then I'm going to make a new custom event and I'm going to call this Q slide. So this isn't necessary, but I quite like how this queue sort of system works. So pretty much if an animation's already been played, we don't want it to then play another animation because it will cancel the animation and then play a different animation. It'll just look a bit weird. However, if we queue an animation, it will keep waiting and waiting until the animation that's currently playing is done, and then it will play it afterwards. So yeah, I quite like how that works, I guess. So I'm going to show you how to do it. So we'll grab this level slide here. We're going to check, is animation playing? Like this. Grab a branch, hold B and click for a branch. Plug the return value in. We'll then grab our play slide event here on the true. And we are going to plug the play mode into this queue here. And it will make a new play mode here. And then from the false, we're going to do a delay of 0.1. And that will just loop it back round. So let me add some reroute nodes. So essentially what's going to happen is we're going to queue slide. It's not going to be playing initially. So actually we need to add a not here. We need to invert it. So make sure we add a not boolean here. So we're going to check if it's not playing. If this animation isn't playing, then we're going to play the animation. However, then if another animation wants to come in, but this one is playing, then we're going to go over here to the false. We're going to wait 0.1 seconds. Then we're going to check if it's still playing. And we're going to wait 0.1 seconds, and then until it's, and when it stops playing, then we're going to play it again. So yeah, I hope that made some sense. But essentially, we call the queue slide animation to play the animation. That's pretty much all you need to know. Okay, so let's head back into our BP HUD base. So we're going to add a new custom event. That is not what I wanted. We're going to add a new custom event. We're going to call this toggle or show level up. That's good enough. Show level up. And essentially what this will do is it will play the animations for the level up to slide down. Before we can do anything with this though, let's create a new function. So I'm separating how each of the widgets are created, each kinds of widgets, sorry. So game widgets is the main widget because that is the main widget that's always displayed. However, we'll make a new function called notification widgets, and these will be things that like pop-ups, like windows, like a little notification. So this is where we'll create all the widgets for that. So essentially, I'll let you guys know in pretty much how we're going to do these widgets. So at the start of the game, we're going to create all the widgets in our game. We're going to create all the widgets, and then the ones that we don't want to be currently using, we're actually going to just have them be collapsed. So this is actually better than for performance than creating and destroying widgets actually, because it takes a big hit when you create a widget and creates a big hit when you destroy one. But if we just create them all at the start of the game, it takes that big hit right at the start, and then when you're showing widgets and hiding them, there's 0 performance hits. So you can show like 100 widgets and your performance will be absolutely fine. So yeah, so right here we're going to do a create widget. We're going to create our level up HUD here. We're going to promote it to a variable called level up HUD. Sure. No, we'll call it level up. We'll call it WB level up. I keep changing my mind on how I want this to be, but WB level up, that's what I want it to be. And then we're going to add it to viewport. Add to viewport like that. Alright. So now if we put this on the begin play, what will happen is this widget is always going to be on the screen, which we don't want it to be. You can't see it right now because it's actually above the screen. But essentially we just don't want it on the screen at all right now. So in this level up, we're going to go to the class defaults, I believe. Go to visibility and make sure it's on collapsed like that. And if we had anything running on the event tick, that won't be executing right now. So it's very good for performance. Okay, so now we actually have that created. Let's go about displaying it on the screen. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to call this event up here, which is add level to HUD, and we will grab the level from here. So level, and this works the exact same as this one. It just means we don't have to do this then this. We just call this inside of the level system, and it does this anyways, and it will show the level that we're currently on. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to create a new variable. This will be can update level. So there'll be certain times when we can't actually update the level when we don't want to, pretty much. But essentially we are going to put this branch in here and update level. So when we are already showing the level notification, we don't want to be able to update the level again. We just want to keep that as what it is. And then once we finish showing it, then we'll update it. Like again, so say you get 2 levels in one go, it'll show the first level, then it'll show the second level. However, I've noticed that could get annoying. So what the system actually does is, say you go from level 8 to level 15, it will say you've gone to level 9, then it'll say you've gone to level 15. So it skips 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14, just because it takes a very long time for it to go through. However, all the points that you collect on their levels will still get added up. So no problem about that. But anyways, we'll first do the false because that's the easiest. All this will be is a delay of, we can do 0.1, and it will come back round. It's just checking if you've completed yet. Like a very annoying child on a road trip. Like, are we there yet? Are we there yet? You know what I mean? Then on the true, when we can actually update the level. So make sure this is true by default. So compile and save. Make sure this is true. Then what we'll do is we will grab the WB level up. Make sure inside the level up widget blueprint, make sure this text here, we'll call it level. Make sure it is a variable like that. Back in here, we can now grab the variable that we just created, which is called level, get level, and from here, do a set text. Make sure it's set text text, so it looks like this. Put that into the true. And then from this level here, we can just plug this directly in, and it will create a toText integer. So once we do this, this is just setting this text to what our level is. Once we do that, we can finally show the text. We can finally show the notification. So let's go from the WB level up, and let's do a set visibility to be visible. And let me add some reroute nodes to make it look a bit nicer. Okay, so you won't see anything happen, but every time we level up, it is showing the level up notification. And that is just because we're not playing the animation just yet. So let's play the animation then. So from the level up, we're going to do the event queue slide here. So remember, we're queuing it and we're not playing it straight away. And we're going to play it forwards because we're sliding it down. So now, when we level up, hopefully it doesn't work. Okay, so essentially it wasn't working because we never actually called this event. I always forget to call events. I always create them and then just completely forget to call them, which is not a good habit to get into. Anyways, let's head back to our BPC level system. So after we increase a level, we're then going to go from the BP HUD base, and we're going to do, what do we call it? Show level up, like that. And we're going to plug this just into this increment like that, because that is our current level that we're at. Then when we click play and we level up, as you can see, it now says level 2. And then we'll level up again. And it'll go to level 3. But it doesn't slide back up. We want it to slide back up pretty much. So let's get that done then. Okay, so now back in the HUD base here, what we're going to do is we're going to do a set timer by event. So I'm going to explain to you guys how this works. We're going to put a time of 1.5 in here. And now it will basically count to 1.5 like a delay does. However, after it got into the 1.5, it will then execute this event. So we can call this like hide level up. And then we can just copy and paste this queue slide back here. We can make it reverse. We can then do a delay of like 0.55 because the animation is 0.5 long. So 0.5 milliseconds after, we will then actually collapse the widget back up. So it's like it's no longer there. So instead of creating and destroying widgets constantly, we are just showing and hiding them, basically, which is so much better. So set visibility to collapsed. And one thing we need to make sure is we get this can update level here, set this to false, and right at the end of here, we're going to set it to true. And now, when we level up, you can see we get to level 2, level up again, 3, and if we get to 4, it will then show after it's being gone up. So level 5, and then we get to level 6 straight away. There we go. So that now works quite well. So that is basically the level system with the notifications and stuff. Now what we need to do is we need to make the XP work and then also save the entire system. So I think we should do the XP first. Let's make the XP work first. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to make the rest of the HUD working. We're going to make the rest of it usable. So currently we have the level obviously working. That's quite nice. So now we're going to get the XP bar to work. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to hop into the main HUD. We're going to go to the graph. And in the event construct, we don't need these two. In the event construct, we're going to do a cast to third person character like this. This will just get us a reference to the player. So we're going to do a get player character here. And we can do promote this to our player ref. And Yeah, alright. So that is everything we're going to do in the construct. So now what we're going to do is in the designer, we are going to go to the experience bar here, XP bar. And what I want to do is, where this says percent, click bind here, and we're just going to create a binding. Okay, and then from here, we're going to get the player reference. We're going to get the BPC underscore level system. Level system. There it is. BPC level system. We're going to, from here, get the current XP. And we're going to get the max XP. Now, the percent value is a decimal. So, pretty much 10% would be 0.1, 20% 0.2, and so on. So it's not in percent form, it's actually in decimal form. And obviously to get into decimal form, you want to do the current divided by the max. So like that. So if it was a fraction, it would be the top divided by the bottom number to get the percent of it, obviously. So what we can do here is we can right click this division here, do a to float, and just plug this straight in like that. So now the percent bar should work. So let's give ourselves some XP, and there we go. As you can see, it does go up, and when you level up enough, it does get some left over as well, which is amazing. It is working. Alright, so now let's get the little number in the top left hand corner to actually show something. So in the designer, we're going to go to the experience here, where this says text, we're going to create a new binding again. We're then going to do the exact same thing, get the player ref, BPC underscore, or just BPC level, if I can spell, level, here it is, get that. Then we're going to do the current XP, and we're going to get the max XP. And very similarly, but instead of dividing it this time, we just can display it as a fraction. So we can do an append, like this, append string. We're going to plug it in like this, and it'll automatically convert them into strings, like this. And then we're going to plug this in here, and it'll automatically convert that. So let's add a quick slash. Let's add a slash in between, so it looks a bit neater. We're going to plug the B actually into the C here, like this. So max is now in the C. And we're going to just do a space, and then a slash, then a space. Just to space things out a little bit. And then when we click play, it now says 0 of 100. And there we go. This now looks really good, actually. So yeah, perfect. So now what we still have to do is we need a reward system. We need the milestone system. We need a little notification when we get some experience. And we also need to obviously be able to save the entire system. So let's get started on that then. Alright, so we're going to start by doing the experience notification. It's not too difficult, it's a bit finicky, but it will do. So, to start with, let's head into our, let's stay in our main HUD. Let's go to the designer. So we're going to add some text. So let's go to our palette, or library even, and let's get some text. And we're going to put that into the vertical box, and it's right at the bottom, as you can see there. We're going to make the text, we'll just do a placeholder. It'll be, just placeholder will be plus 50 EXP. So that is a layout that we want it to follow. We're then going to make the color a nice sort of green color. That will do just fine. And then we're going to make the font 14, so it's quite a bit smaller. And yeah, I mean, I think we can even go lower than that, 13 maybe. And yeah, that's pretty much the notification. Now, of course, we're going to have to now actually animate it. So let's click on this text. Let's first name this to be, we'll call it plus EXP number, sure. And the tick is variable. So we're going to go to animations, add an animation, and let's just call this number fade. Sure, that will do. Let's then add the plus EXP number, which is the text. We're then going to add a, instead of transform, this time we're going to add a color. Wherever we do that. Am I just blind? Here we go. Color and opacity. That's the one we want. So we are going to go to the 0.5 mark and make sure automatic keyframes are on. At the 0.5 mark, we want the alpha to be at 0. And I'm just going to remove all these keyframes here for the color. So just so we have the alpha, so it goes from 1, 0 at the 0.5 mark. And then at the 1.5 mark, all the way over here, we're going to make it still be on 0. So we should add a keyframe, I believe, by doing, scrap that idea, I guess. We're going to go to the 2 instead. And we're going to make sure this alpha goes to 1. And then we're at the 1.5. We can set the alpha to 0 still. So just make sure you have these 4 keyframes like this, which goes like 1, then 0, then a 0, then a 1. And now you see how this looks. So it fades, should fade. Okay, we got that the wrong way around. So it should go 0 to 1, to 0, not 0 to 1 even, and then back to 0. So it should be fading in and fading back out. So it goes from you can't see it to over here you can see it, and then you can see it for around a second, and then it fades back out. And in fact, instead of doing it for just seeing it a second, I'm going to do it like for about 1.25. And then I'm going to move this down a bit more as well. Like this. Just make sure the animation looks good for you. Make it however you want it to look. So here's how mine looks. I feel like that might be a little bit too long still. Yeah, we can put it down to the 1. Maybe. Maybe if we do something like this. I'll just look. Yeah, that looks fine. Okay. So, one more thing we need to do is, if we come out of the animation, so just go to animations and make sure we're not clicking on that animation anymore, we can still see this plus 50 here. We don't want to do that anymore. So let's go to color and opacity, and let's set the opacity to 0. There we go. So now you can no longer see this little notification here. So now obviously we're going to have to do the animation for this one as well. So I'm just going to copy and paste it from the level from the level up widget. So just copy and paste it over, and you can just confirm that. So obviously we're going to change a lot here. We're going to remove everything that has an error like that. And so let's do it. So in the in animation here, we are going to plug in the whatever the animation was called. Compile and save. Where is the animation? There we go. Number fade there. And let's put number fade in this in animation as well. Then what we're going to want to do is, so instead of this being called play slide, we're going to put it to play fade. And instead of Q slide, Q fade. And then off the true, we'll do a play fade. Plug the play mode in. And that is everything. So we've now set up the queuing of the animation again, exactly how we did over here. So let's head back into the BP HUD base. Let's create a new custom event. T.add exp number. So now thinking about it, it's probably better if you make these functions. Yeah, you should probably, you can't make this one a function because it is using the set time by event. Or you could just try, you know what? A better thing to do would be select everything for the leveling stuff, right click, collapse nodes, and we're going to call this level widgets. Sure. I'm going to color this black, comment it to be a level widgets. Let's comment to black, and There we go. Put this right at the top. And it just neatens the blueprint up a little bit better. Because this probably will be reused by you guys for all your widgets and stuff. So it's just good if we have it like this. Anyways, back to the add exp number event that we were making. So we're going to make an input, which will be the exp to add. And now this will just be whatever exp we're adding to the current exp. That makes sense. So from here, we can get the WB main menu HUD here. Main HUD. We can then do the, what do we call the variable again? Plus exp number here. Yep, so that is just this variable right here. We're then going to do a set text like this. Did not mean to do that. Set text. All right, so now what we're going to set the text to? Well, we want it to say plus and this amount of XP, right? So we can use our append again, which just means we can add extra letters, I guess, to the to whatever you're putting. So obviously we can put a plus, and then we'll put a space, or actually no space, because we want it to look like it does in, we'll go to the animation, like it does here. We want it to look like that. So it says plus number of exp. So plus, and then put that into the B. Add a new pin, space, exp, like that. There we go. And then the final thing we'll do is we'll just do a queue. From the main HUD, make sure you do it from the main HUD. Do a queue fade like that. Okay, and it can just be forwards because we set up the whole animation within that one animation. So it is honestly a bit easier. But over here it's really easy to mess around with the timings. So yeah. So let's go implement this event here then. Let's go do that. So over in the BPC level system, let's go to whether we do update XP. Let's do the BP HUD base. Add exp number like this. We're then gonna, so this add XP here, this is how much we're adding over here. So we can just plug this straight in to here, and this is just the exp that we're adding. So that will work perfectly fine. Plug that in. And now, when we actually play and we add XP, as you see there, it comes up as 50 XP added. And that does actually work perfectly. And say we change this to like 1,000. Boom. Right there, it adds it straight up like that. And now, as you can see, we run into an error here. We now have 900 out of 150 XP. 900 out of 150 XP, which it should have brought us up to a really high level, but it didn't. It didn't skip any levels at all, which we needed to. We needed to, right? So let's head into our BPC level system, where we do our level up. We're just going to do a we're going to do this exact check right here. So we can just duplicate this. So over here, where we did the update XP, right at the end where we decide if we want to level up or not, we can just put this in a level up. So we'll continue leveling up if the current XP is still equal to or greater than the max XP. So say we add 1,000 now, we go straight up to level 5. And the notification will skip 3 or 4 because that will just be really irritating in my opinion. So yeah. Alright, so now we've done that, we might as well move on to the milestones. So you guys can set up the milestones to be whatever levels you want for your game, so it works. But for me, I'm going to do milestones like this. So the first thing we're going to do for milestones is we're going to make a new variable called level milestone reward. There we go. So the way I'm going to do it is the milestones will just be like a score, extra score that you get. But if you want to do like unlockable characters or whatever, you can do that, but you can't use the same method I'm doing here. I don't think anyways. I mean, you could, it just is a little bit more effort, but I'm sure you guys can work it out. So we're going to make this integer a map, and we're going to make it an integer to an integer. So if we add here, this first integer will be the level that you have to reach. So for me, you have to reach level 5, and here is the amount of score that you get back. So when you reach level 5, we'll give you 2 score. And then when you get to level 10, we'll give you like 3. Level 15, get you an extra 4. So this was plus 2 to your points, plus 3 to your points, plus 4 to your points. And I'm just going to go up like this. So at level 20, we get an extra 5. Level 25, 6, and you can just keep going up and up and up. Obviously, you can make these rewards whatever you want, so why not? Just on level 25, we'll give 30 points. Alright, so that is the milestones that you have to reach. This is each level, and this is the reward you get for it. This is how much score we're going to add on. So say you're doing like unlockable suits, whatever, this second variable could be a reference to like a parent suit. And you can decide like what you unlock with it, like what item you unlock or whatever. But yeah. So we're then going to make a new function. This will just be called check level milestone reward. Like this. This is quite a simple function. We're just going to get the level milestone reward like this. We're going to do the keys. If you guys watched my combat tutorial, you guys will be very familiar with how we do this. Hold F and click for each loop. We're going to loop through this array of keys. We're then going to check if the array element is equal to, so 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, is equal to our level. So if we're either level 5, 10, 15, 20, or 25, then we will continue through here. Okay, so depending on which one we've actually reached, we are going to get back the milestone reward. We're going to find, and we're going to find the array element like this. And this will just output, so say we're level 5, this will output 2. We're level 10, it will output 3. We're level 25, output 30. So that is why we're going to create a new variable. We're just going to call this points. Now, if you already have a point system, I'd still recommend you create the point system inside of the level system. It's a lot easier, and even if you still have one in here, you can just where you're like adding the points up or whatever, you can use the points variable from the level system just like this. So if you have anything to do with points, I recommend doing it in here. Anyways, we can then get these points, and we can add this value, which will be obviously, I keep going back to this, but it will be 2, 3, 4, 5, 30, depending on your level. We're going to add that to points. So we're going to add that to whatever our current points are, and set it like that. Quite a simple function there. And then when we do our level up, before we do this branch here, we're just going to make sure we check level milestone reward like that. Okay, so that actually works quite well. It should do anyways. It should do. To test it, to test it, we'll just duplicate this. We'll change the key to like E. And we'll get it to print. And we will get it to print the points. Like this. Oops. So we hit the E key, it says 0. However, if we go all the way up to past level 5, we click E again, and then we're at 2 points, which is good because that's how many points we get for reaching level 5. There we get to level 10. There we go. We should be now on 5 points. That works great. So another thing that you can do is right here is we can actually add points for each level that we get to. So that is very easy. All we're going to do is just increment it simply like that. So now for each level we get to, we get 1 point. And then if we reach level 5, we get an extra 2 points. So I'll demonstrate that here. We're on 0 points right now. We go straight to level 5. We are now on 6 points because we got a point for each level. Then we got extra 2 points for each level 5. So yeah, that equals 6. Okay, so the next thing we're going to actually do is we're going to make a quick widget to display how many points we have, just so we don't have to keep printing the string like that. So I'm going to remove this debug key here because we no longer need this. So let's get a good way to print the amount of points that we have on the screen, of course. So let's go to our main HUD. Let's grab a new text. Drag it into the canvas panel, and this time it's not going to be on the vertical box because I actually want it to be the opposite side over here. So let's make this text anchored to the right hand side here. So it changes the anchor to this side. We're then going to make the X to -200 and the Y to 77. Like that. I'm going to do size to content, and I'm going to write points here, colon, and then 0, 0. Like that, just as a placeholder. And then when we click play, it now will show points. However, it doesn't update how many points we have. So let's work on that next. So this is very simple. All we got to do is click on the points here, make this a variable. We'll call it points. And then where it says text, just create a binding. We're going to do the player ref. We're going to get the BPC level system. And then we'll just get points. Link that up there. And that is, if I compile and save. There we go, that is it done. So as you can see, it says 0, and it goes straight up to 6, 7, 8, 9. We get to level 10, and it should go up by 14. There we go. And yeah, that is the point system now. I am going to quickly make the point system look a bit nicer by just doing a append. So append. We'll write points here, colon, space, and then plug the points in. And then finally plug this into the return. And now, there we go, it looks much, much better. Okay, so now we've got to work on, in my opinion, the hardest part of this system, which is the save system. But don't let that steer you away, because it's still not that difficult. I'm going to try and make it as simple as possible for you. Okay, so now it's time to get the save system up and running. So, back in this tutorial folder, you might want to make a new folder called like save system or something like that, but I'm not, because I'm just going to chuck it all in this folder, as this isn't going to be a complete game. But we're going to make a new blueprint class. I believe it's called it's called a save game here. Create this, and we're going to call it BP underscore save game. Because why not? Come in here, and we're not going to put anything in here. So don't start putting like begin plays and whatever. You can't even put begin play in here. Shows how much I know about this. But yeah, don't go putting anything in here, as this will just be to store out variables. Now, of course, you could do could put the variables in here, like the XP and the levels and stuff. However, as you start using the save system more, it will get a bit complicated. So that is why we're going to create a blueprint structure. We can call this S underscore level player level save, maybe something along them lines. And this is where we're going to put the turn off caps lock. This is where we're going to put the current XP. We'll put the max XP. We'll put the level in here as well. And also I've forgotten what it's called. Points. That's what we called it. Points. You can make these all integers. Just like this. Perfect. Okay, and then back in the save game, make a variable. We'll call this s underscore player level save. Is that what we called it? S underscore player level save. There we go. And if we look in here, we now have all of these variables. We don't actually have to do anything to them though. We can just leave them there like that. Alright. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to create a new blueprint class. And we're going to put the entire save system inside of a game object. The game object? I am losing my memory right now. Sorry, not game object. We're going to put it all in a game instance. That's what it's called. A game instance. And that is because game instances are like one of the first things that get executed before the player or anything. So that means the save system will load the game up before we actually spawn in as a player, which is obviously very good. I'm going to call this bp underscore game instance. And make sure we go into the project settings, search for game instance, and we're just going to make sure we are using our BP game instance now instead of just the game instance. Okay, now let's open up this game instance then. Save all, open it up. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make a new variable, call this save data, and this will be our BP underscore save game here, like that. And then we're going to make another one called slot name, and this will be a string. You can call this whatever you want. I'm just going to call it save1. But yeah, you guys can have multiple slots as well if you want. But that is a bit complicated and I'm not going to do that. So let's go back into our content browser. Let's create a new blueprint and then blueprint interface. Call this bpi underscore save. Yeah, bpi underscore save will do. And let's open it up. So let's create a function called load game data. Let's create another function called save game data. Another one called get game data, and another one called save player level. So let's go through them one by one, set up the inputs, and I'll explain to you what they do. So load game data has no inputs, has no outputs, so you can leave that as it is, but that will be the function that we create to load the data into the game if there's a valid slot. Save game data, same as, no inputs, no outputs, but what this will do is after our level's updated, we'll then save the level in like a, I guess, text file. We'll save what level it is, and then if the game gets closed, then when it's reopened, the load game will get that save file, read everything it says, and set the level as what it was. The get game data, however, does have an output, and it has an output of the save game data, which will be the bp underscore save game data. And this is pretty much just an easy way for us to get a reference to this variable. So yeah. And then finally, the save player level has an input of the player level, and this is just the s underscore player level save that we created. Okay, so now we've got that set up. Let's go into the game instance. Okay, so in the game instance, we're going to create a new implemented interface, and this interface is going to be our BPI save. And now all of a sudden you'll see we get all these functions that we created. So let's go one by one and let's create every single one of them. So in this get game data, we're just going to put the save data in there, and that is everything for that one. Now we'll start off by doing the load game data. So in this one, we're going to first of all check if the save game actually exists and plug in slot name. So we're going to check if this slot actually exists. if it does exist, then very simply, we're going to load the game from slot. And then we'll cast to the save game. We will then set the save data as this save game. So if the slot exists, we'll just load it from save game data. Easy peasy, not too difficult at all. However, if the slot doesn't exist, then simply we will create save game object like that, and then boom, oops, make sure it's the BP save game and then plug it in. So yep, simply we're just going to create the save game data. So if it exists, we load it. If it doesn't exist, we create it. Next one we'll do is we will do the save game data here. This one, it's super simple. Already a function that does it. So all we do is save game slot, save game to slot there. Slot name will be here, and the save game object is just going to be the save data here, like that. Not too difficult. Then for the event player save level, what we're going to do is this will save all of the variables inside this structure. So essentially we'll get the save data, we'll get the player level save here, or not get, we need to set it, set player level save, and we're going to set them to as the same. So essentially we get the player level variables from the BPC level system. We then put it into the variables of the save data, which is in here. We put it in here, and that will save them pretty much. We then just need to call the save game data, not like that, save game data. I'm pretty sure we can just do the function. There we go. So we just call this. Okay. Now that is pretty much everything for the game object. However, one thing we need to do is on the initialize, so event init, we will just load game data like that. So when we play, we straight away load the game like that. If you've got like a main menu or something, you probably want to do it here. You probably want to do it on like the play. Like when you click the play button, then that's when you load the game data. But it's quite straightforward to set up. It's not too difficult at all. Okay, so now back inside of the level system, we are then going to go to the event begin play. Now we need to change this around a little bit. So let's move the event begin play up a bit. Hold S and click for a sequence. From the then 1, let's add a delay of just 0.1. And we're going to connect it in here. So there we go. Because we want this to be called 100% after our then 0. Because our then 0 loads everything in. And we obviously don't want to display the level if the level it hasn't even loaded yet. So what we'll do here is we'll get the game instance like this. We'll then get the game data, which is the message to get the save game variable. We're then going to check if it's valid. So is the save game actually valid? Then if it is valid, we'll simply load the player level, which is a function we haven't set up just yet. So we'll create this load player level. And essentially this is just initializing all of the variables. So let's add a sequence. This function is going to get a bit messy. Let's add 2 more thens. So on then 0, simply current XP will be set. So current XP will be set up in a second because I forgot to go here, go to the save game data. Make sure you get the player level save here. And let's call the function. And can we just like pass? No, we can't. Okay. Make sure in the inputs you set up the player save, player level save here, which is the structure player level save. And they can be passed into each other like that. So then once you right click and you split it, then you have the current XP here. So you can pass that through like that. Very simple, that part. But then on then 1, we're going to do a branch. We're going to check if the max XP is not equal to 0. Because if it's equal to 0, then the game's kind of unplayable. And then we're just going to do the max XP is equal to this max XP here. Same as level. If the level is equal to 0, then it's obviously not worked correctly. So we're just going to make sure the level is not equal to 0. And if it's not equal to 0, then we set the level to save level here. And then on the then 3, we can just do the points, set the points to the save points here. Simple as that. So yeah, that looks good to me. Now we need to make sure we are doing the rest of the system here. So when we update anything, we want to make sure we save the game. So I'm just going to copy this game instance. And then when we do before this branch here, I'm going to paste back in the game instance. And because we're updating the XP, so that's updating something, we are going to save the player level. So this will just save all of the variables. In theory, we can just save the current XP, but just to be on the safe side, we want to do a make here. To be on the safe side, we're just going to save every single variable. So the current XP, the max XP, the level, and the points. Just because we sort of can. Like, there's no reason we shouldn't. Just in case we've forgotten something, it still should work. Usually anyways. And then we're going to copy this exact same system here. Copy these parts. And we're going to put it before this branch here. So when we increment the points, we're then also going to save this here. And this one will actually save the points because we update the points. And we also update the level. And we update the max XP. And we update the current XP. So that is good to save all of them there. And now, if I'm not mistaken, I believe that's the whole save system done. And let's see if it works then. So let's add some XP. We're now level 6. Let's then back out of the game. Let's go back in. And there we go. We're level 6. Still with 7 points. We go to level 7. We're still level 7. 8 points now. And yeah. This is the whole level up system. So obviously, for example, if you say kill an enemy, you can give yourself XP for that and you will start leveling up. So yeah, you can obviously add your own rewards and stuff, do whatever you want with the points. So say you have a shop set up, you can go to level system, you can grab your points and be like, do I have enough points? Is points say equal to 10? Check if you have points to buy stuff and stuff like that. So yeah, shortly in about 4 days time, there'll be a video about skill trees, and the skill trees will actually be connected to this level system. So we'll be converting the points to skill points, and we'll be showing how you can use them in like a shop setting and be able to gain skills from different points and stuff. So yeah, if you liked the video, leave a like. If you didn't, I guess leave a dislike. YouTube's hidden all the dislikes, so no one would know anyways. But the button is there, so you can use it. Subscribe if you want to see more of me. And yeah, project files in my Patreon if you want to join that. Link is in the description. And join the Discord if you need any help. That's everything. Goodbye.